Hey team, it's Coach Blake going over March 19th, Thursday's workout. This is going to be an alternating 20-minute EMOM. So every minute on the minute, we're looking for 45 seconds of work and 15 seconds of rest. The two movements we'll be doing are push-ups and single leg Romanian deadlifts for quality. I will demonstrate both of those things and some things to make them more difficult or in order to scale them. And then yeah, we'll show some things at the end to stretch and you'll be good to go. But to start, let's go ahead and get ready with a warm-up. So like we do with class a lot, we do line stretches, which sometimes you don't have enough space to do line stretches, but we have enough space to move around in our immediate area. So the first one we'll do is an inchworm. We start standing, we walk our hands out. Go ahead and do a push-up, and then we come into upward dog and downward dog. I would really recommend pausing in that downward dog position. Really try to get those shoulders nice and warm. If you did Tuesday's workout, there was a 120-second pike hold for, just for quality and to complete. So that really kind of gets burning through the shoulders, and we do want to try to get those shoulders nice and warm before we get into the push-ups. So highly recommend holding that position a little longer than normal. But to go back to the inchworm, we walk our hands, do our push-up. We can stretch out however we need here at the bottom, and then we walk our hands up and we stand. So depending on how much room you have, you might keep moving forward or you might walk your hands back. Either way is fine. We're looking at doing that 5 or 6 times and really just trying to get the whole body moving and stretched out. After that, we'll go ahead and move into some deep lunges with a rotation. So we're on one knee back, and then one knee is propped up, and we do a twist. So you should feel a nice deep stretch in the side of the leg here. You'll probably feel a little bit in the front of the hip here as well, and then we want to get that chest nice and wide whenever we're here. And that hand should be pointing up straight to the sky, really elongating this whole area, getting it nice and stretched out before we get into the push-ups. After that, we'll go ahead and move into some air squats. So just simple. Go ahead and back up here a little bit. Hands come up to about shoulder height. Knee crease should be in line with hip crease. When we shoot back up, we want to keep that core nice and tight as well. So is the air squat. Do about 15 of those, and your legs will be maybe 20 to 30 actually, and your legs will be nice and toasty, ready to go. And then the last thing, if you do have a broom, I would recommend grabbing a broom just because it makes it a little bit easier to intuitively think about like what you're doing. So we'll do some good mornings with our broom. Our traditional good morning, those feet are just outside the hips or right underneath them. Our shoulders are in line with our hips as well, and we keep our chest up but our tummy tucked. So we just want to make sure that chest is high, our chin is tucked, and then we also squeeze the core so those ribs are down. And with the good morning, we hinge, slight bend in the leg, stopping about whenever your torso is parallel to the floor, and then shoot back up and squeeze the glutes at the top. We really want to focus on driving those hips back and squeezing the glutes at the top. I would recommend about 15, 20, 25 of those, anywhere in that range, depending on your time availability and just trying to get this workout in. 15 to 25 should be pretty good to get the back of the legs warm. So if you do not have a broom, something that you can do instead, we're just going to keep our hands, kind of in that kind of front rack position or right outside the shoulders with our thumbs on our shoulders. And we'll do the exact same thing, hinging at the hips and squeezing the glutes at the top. Again, we're looking at 15 to 25 reps. So that will be our warm-up for the day. We'll go over some different things for push-ups now and then move into our single leg deadlift and then some cool-down stretches, and you guys will be good to go. So for our push-up, there's a couple things that I think will be beneficial, good pointers before we get started. So when we do our push-up, we want those hands to be right in line with our shoulders. If you do have weaker triceps, a lot of times we will start to walk those hands out or if our pecs are a little sore, or yeah, mostly just sore, then maybe we'll walk the hands out a little bit as well. But to start, we'll go ahead and put those hands right underneath our shoulders. We get into a plank position. The whole body is in line. We lower ourselves down. Bottom of the chest touches the floor, and then we shoot up. Our body moves as a complete unit through the whole range of motion. If you do widen your hands, it's going to look a little bit different. So like, let's say round 6, I'm getting real tired, and I walk my hands out a little bit. Your elbow bend is going to look a little different. The way that your shoulders retract is going to look a little bit different. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through. So that would be the traditional push-up. Again, it's 12 or 10 push-ups, male to female ratio for each round. If you find that that is too difficult, you're having a really hard time getting full push-ups, then we're going to go ahead and drop to our knees. If you've been in my classes, you know that I encourage keeping those feet onto the floor whenever you are doing those push-ups on your knees. And we try to keep it straight from our shoulders to our hips at the very least. And again, we're lowering, chest touches the ground, and then we drive back up for our 12 or 10 reps. Another way that you could modify is, I'll use the couch behind me here. We can do an incline push-up on the couch. So we put our hands probably on either side of the cushion. We come up on our feet, we lower, touch our chest to the cushion, and then that would be an incline push-up. It's a great way to modify, makes the push-up just a little bit easier. So yeah, that's one modification you could do at home. Another one is to make it more difficult. So if we're just working with the floor, one way to make those 12 or 10 push-ups more difficult would be to, got everything engaged, good, ready to go, and we're going to lower for like 4 seconds, and then shoot up, or for 4 counts, and then shoot up. So nice, slow descent, and then a fast ascent. Another thing we could do is put our feet up on the couch or on the coffee table, and instead we're doing a decline push-up. So we're here, whole body is in a straight line, and instead of touching our chest, we're going to touch our nose to the floor, and then shoot back up. So those are our 2 ways to make the push-up a little bit more difficult. If you are having a hard time or an easy time still getting that 12 or 10 reps, just work for 30 to 45 seconds and knock out what you can, and then take that 15 seconds at the end to rest. So yeah, but really shooting for that 12 or 10 rep scheme. So now moving into the single leg deadlift. Sorry friends, my battery was starting to go low. So single leg deadlift, just without anything at all. I'm going to show you what it looks like here. Show you from the side first. So I've got one foot planted, the other foot I just lift slightly off the ground, and I'm going to shoot that foot back, and I'm going to hinge similar to the good morning, and I'm going to touch the floor and then shoot back up, squeezing this glute at the top. So just show this way, shooting that back, touching. So with the single leg deadlift, we still want to keep those shoulders back. Back is in a straight line. If we're not touching the floor, we're getting to about mid-shin, which is where a barbell would usually rest. Or if you had plates on a barbell, where the plates would touch the floor. That's about where you want to stop. So to kind of switch this up a little bit, if you're having a hard time gauging on where to stop, grab a pillow. So something you could do, we plant one foot, we come down, touch the pillow to the floor, and then come back up. Of course, do that on both legs. If you can't get that pillow all the way to the floor, go ahead and rotate it so we're holding it like so. And we're going to touch this end of the pillow to the floor. So coming down and then standing back up. So that's one modification you could do, or one way to kind of help you gauge. And then we can also grab our nice little friend, the broom here. And you can kind of just scrape this down the front of the leg to about mid-shin, and then stand up. So this might be your friend as well for those single leg deadlifts. A couple more key things about these deadlifts. Again, that starting position, we want those feet under hips, and then hips over or under shoulders, shoulders around and down and back into the spine. We've got a high chest, but a tucked rib cage, so everything is nice and in line here. Again, we plant that foot on the floor, kick it back, reach down, and then squeeze at the top, reach down, and squeeze at the top. So yeah, that's going to be the single leg deadlift for you. I had a key point. I'm sure it'll come to me, so I'll think about it here in a moment. Yeah, so for the cool down, we'll go ahead and move into that. And if I think of that thing I was thinking about, I'll go ahead and share it. So whenever we get into the cool down, your chest is probably going to be a little bit sore, maybe, especially if you don't do push-ups all the time. So we'll go ahead, come down into child's pose. We'll stretch out the shoulders here, walk our hands over, hold each of these for about 15 or 20 seconds, walk our hands over again, and then a really good one that I found helps me stretch everything out is I'm going to go down in child's pose and then extend my arms out as far as I can and keep walking my fingertips away. And I feel a really nice stretch through the front here. A couple other things we can do to get those hips and the hamstrings nice and stretched out. Just do a forward fold. We can walk the feet a little bit wider, come to one side or the other. Again, we're holding each place for 15 seconds, not for the 2 seconds that I'm showing you here. And yeah, of course, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out.